Welcome to Black Sheep.
Hello, I'm Nancy from Black Sheep Knitting in Needham, Massachusetts. I want to thank those of you who continue to watch us and to welcome any new subscribers or new watchers, but please subscribe. I think you just have to hit a button, which is nice. I think we've got, I don't know how many subscribers, we have a lot. Over 6,000, but it would be nice to have 7,000. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Today I wanted to show a few things, a new pattern that I'm working on. We have a yarn that I was kind of fascinated by called Papery, or Papery, from Barocco, and it's 90% cotton and then 10% textile papers. So if you look at this, there's little bits, all those colors are these, what they're calling textile papers. So this colorway is called Candy Shop. This one is pinks and blues, a touch of lemony yellow with a hint of green, and this is called Desert Flower. And this one has more neutral tones. This is called Watercolor. And this is actually, I didn't realize how pretty this is. It's a purple, lavender, and kind of a coral orangey color, which I think is a really fun combination. And then the one I chose to work with, and now I'm forgetting the name, but it's the fourth in of all the colors that we have. This one has blues and greens and little bit of turquoise, and so it's a cotton. This one is called Sea Fog, and so it's between a worsted and an Aran weight, which you don't see that much in cotton, so I was happy to find a yarn that was like this. So then I went on the hunt for a pattern. And I decided I wanted a tank because I have a really pretty lightweight navy blue sweater that I like to wear with tanks under it. So I thought this would be perfect for that. And I also have a white. I'm not fond of showing this part of my arms at my age, so I like to make a tank and then wear a lightweight sweater with it. So the pattern that I chose was from Quince. And it's designed by Elizabeth Smith, who's a pretty well-known designer, and it's called Kai, K-A-I. Now, as you can see, this is a two-color one, but I'm not doing two colors, obviously. I'm just doing one color. But I thought this would be a really good choice. Looked easy, so I'm going to do that. And I started this morning, and I'm on a size 8 needle, and I'm getting gauge. So it's kind of cool to go this fast, and it's sleeveless, so I should be done pretty quickly. The air conditioning keeps going on and off, and I hate to turn it off because it's just bloody hot here. So pardon the noise. I wanted to show you a sample that I knit last summer. And it's called the Joni by Natasja Hornby, and I happen to really like her designs, and I have another one that I'm going to do while I'm on vacation this summer, and I'm doing it in this same yarn, which is called Sonata from Noro, but I'm doing white. In the next one I'm doing, it's another pattern of hers called Nila, and I think it has sleeves. But this one is Joni, and Robin just tried it on. It's cute as can be. And it just has this lace detail in the front, and it's not hard at all to do. So if you want a first time lace project, this is the one for you. So I chose another yarn that I thought would be, these are the same, would be great for this, and it's a cotton, and it's machine wash, cool water, and it's 100% organic cotton. and it's called Botanica, and it is a sport weight. This colorway is called Marigold Speckle. They're the teeniest, tiniest specks of beige, I think, in it, but I think this would be a good choice for that. This is for those of you who like neutrals. This is called Garnet Onion. Why it says garnet, I do not know. Maybe it was dyed with an onion. I have no idea. It doesn't say. I was looking to see if it, oh, this is made in India. Very interesting. It's a generous skein. For $12.50, it's 328 yards. So that's pretty nice in a sport weight. So this colorway is Mulberry Leaf Speckle. And this one is my favorite, called Madder Speckle. So my question to them is, I'm wondering, because they call it Botanica, it doesn't say anywhere, but these are all things that you would dye, natural dyes, like a mulberry leaf. This one is Madder, which is a dye. It's something that you use for dyeing.
It also says machine wash.
Yeah, I said it.
Tumble dry.
Oh, it's machine wash and tumble dry on low. So
For summer, that's
perfect
nice.
for a summer top that you'll probably want to wash frequently, or wonderful for baby things that you might throw. So any sport weight. I really love this pink. It's just a soft, beautiful pink, but these are all natural dyes. Madder is a natural dye, and this one again is mulberry leaf and onion. I don't know, I'll have to look it up. And marigold speckle. Okay, so think about that. It's a great top, and it knit up pretty quickly, even though you're on a smallish needle, but I did it pretty quickly last summer. Now I wish I'd done it in these. However, I thought it might be fun to talk about stranded knitting, or Fair Isle, as they say. I use them, what's the word? Simultaneously, it's not simultaneously, interchangeably. But I think there are different definitions for color work and stranded knitting. So color work, I guess, you could be, intarsia, I guess, could be considered color work.
Mosaic.
Mosaic is color work. But stranded knitting is what I'm going to talk about today. And as you've seen, my top, which is almost finished, and it's where you're knitting with two colors going across the row. Now there are patterns where you sometimes have three colors, which is a little harder to handle the colors. But you just, when I knit it, I'm knitting with the color, which in this case is the dyed-in-the-wool, in my left hand and the main color in my right hand. And when it comes time on the pattern, and I don't have a pattern right here with me, but on the chart to put in the color work, then I use my left hand. And generally speaking, it's the color that you want to be dominant in color work is used in your left hand. I'm not exactly sure why that's the case, but I've been told that, and that's what I do anyway. So I keep my main color in the right and my contrasting color in the left, and I can just use my left hand as if I'm doing continental knitting. So what you do, and not everybody does that, because Giovanna, who works here, does not do what's called catching your floats. So every, as a general rule, if I have a space of 5 stitches, say, before I do the next color, I put one over the other. That's called catching your floats. These automatically do it because you're picking up the other yarn and knitting with it, so it stretches across the expanse of those stitches. In this, and that's of course obviously because you don't want to have to cut yarn. You want to just be able to keep knitting with it. So these floats are quite short, and the space between the colors is, this is probably the biggest space right in here. So I might have caught my float on that stitch and not done, let's see if I did. Yeah, I did catch it in between. But just so it's the one piece of yarn looped over the other, and you can look that up if you have a question about it. But again, a lot of people do not, and so they have long floats of the opposite color going across. I don't like that because I think if you're not careful, if you don't stretch the yarn out as you do it, it can bunch up significantly, like right in here. This will block out, but you see how it's rippled? So I think I just pulled the floats a little bit tight, the opposite colors, so this will block out. But I don't like that big floats because if you pull a little bit too tight on that float, you'll get a big bunching like this, and it's hard to block. So, but I have to say, I do think color work is really, really fun. Here's another example. This is a pattern called, I believe, Soldotna, that was incredibly popular. I don't know where its tag is. This was not knit by me. So this doesn't have, no, this doesn't have big color changes, big spaces between the colors. These are just very short, so it's an easy one to do because you don't have to worry about floats. You can just, you know, these actually are longer. Let's see what's happened on the inside of this. No, that was, forget I said that. In any case, these are two pretty simple, though it looks complex. It is not at all simple. You have to be able to read a chart, which is no big deal. And I feel bad for people who say they hate charts because I think they're the easiest thing in the world. And if you use a plastic sleeve like this, and you use transparent tape like this, and put tape, I always put it underneath the row that I'm doing. So if you're doing a chart, you would of course put it across the chart. And you can, and if you don't do this, you waste a lot of time trying to figure out where the heck you are. I was helping a lovely customer yesterday, and I said, you know, you'll save yourself so much time, because she kept looking down and where am I? If you have a plastic sleeve, and you want a plastic sleeve because you don't want to keep putting tape on something that's been photocopied because the print eventually comes off. But you just move this every time you do, and every time you move a row or down a row. I couldn't knit without this at all, so I advise it. I wanted to show you a couple of colorwork patterns that I thought, these are stranded, that I think are kind of fun. So this one is called Halibut, and I think you have to have a little bit of a sense of humor for this, because look at the fish. And this is by Caitlin Hunter. Again, as I look at it, it's not hard to do. I mean, the more difficult colorwork patterns, if you see them, there's a designer named Marie Wallen who designs for Rowan, and hers are, the charts are unbelievable because they're very quick color changes and lots of color. I think they're really fun to do, and you would blow up a chart like that, because the charts look minuscule and you think, how could I ever look at that? But look her up, because they're interesting. This one I thought was really, really cute, and because I love sheep, this is called the Sheep Sweater by Rosa Pomar. And I think the sheep are adorable. Frequently, a lot of color work patterns are done on fingering weight yarn. And I don't know if traditionally that was what was available, were 2-ply or 4-ply, I don't even know what they called it. One thing to consider is because you're using 2 colors here, you get a heavier fabric. So if you're using fingering weight, although this is not, this is sport and it's perfectly fine, but a lot of patterns are fingering weight. This is, again, the Soldotna top, which is the one that I showed you over here. Is very popular. Some people use a larger needle just for the color work. I've never done that. I tend not to pull too tight on my knitting, so I don't have a problem. But you can try it. If you're too scrunched when you're doing your color work, you could start over and use a bigger needle just for that, like one size up. So that one, the Soldotna, is also by Caitlin Hunter. This one is the Harriet sweater by Lene, which is Lene, Holme, Samsoe. This is a really pretty color work. You can see some of the other colors on it. And another one I chose, I thought this was a little bit different. This is by Zanete Knits. It's called Lightfall, but it's still color work. So I thought that was kind of fun way to use color. And golly, it's like 4 pages of samples. And finally, another one by Caitlin Hunter called Misurina. This was a very popular one. And this is using a fingering weight, but they're saying on a US 4, so that would be for the collar and the sleeves and the band at the bottom, but they're saying a US 4 and 20 stitches in the color work and cable body parts. Oh, there are cables in between the color work. That's kind of fun. Oh yeah, here you can see a close-up of it. I think that's really, really fun. So those are just a couple of suggestions. Do not be afraid of color work. It's really, I think it's fun, and what's really fun about it is watching the pattern develop and watching the colors. And I find it goes pretty quickly. You do have to pay attention. It's not the kind of knitting I would do it watching TV, because I always knit watching TV, but I wouldn't do it during something that you actually had to pay really close attention to, because you do have to keep going with your charts. So, though sometimes they're easy to memorize, the charts, and so you'll know what to do. But I would try it. One of the things you could try to start, if you're interested and don't want to take on a sweater, you could try a cowl, a color work cowl, or mittens. But a cowl would be the easiest. It's small repeats and easy to do. So don't be hesitant. Try it. We have a lot of great yarn that you can use, and I think it's fun. It's really fun picking up, changing colors and picking out the colors for color work. This one is dyed in the wool, so this has done all the work of picking out a color for you, because this is the way the yarn changes. But this one is, we picked out the colors, and I think they're really fun. It's just a lot of fun to do, and You know, if you get going in it, you can always change your mind and do something else. Or suppose I got going and decided I didn't really like this. I could put in a different color in here.
Not that you've ever done that before.
Oh yeah, Robin said, not that I've ever done that before. Of course I'd changed my mind on a lot of things. But you can look up, if you want to look on Ravelry, go to Ravelry and just put in stranded knitting and you'll come up with, and then of course you know on the, if you're looking at the Ravelry page, on the left hand side are all the filters. So you can put in your, the gauge you want to knit, and put in how much yarn, and so on. Two colors, yeah. But if you're starting, don't do one that has 3 colors in a row. And you don't need to do that. Almost every pattern is just 2 colors, but you can have many, many colors in your sweater, and I think it's really lots and lots of fun. So I think that's all for today. We do, and I'll give you a little sneak hint of a workshop we're planning for later on this summer. We have a woman who is going to come in and do colors for people. I think she does that Color Me Beautiful, if anybody's ever had their colors done, to find out whether, and it's a spring, summer, autumn, or winter, and then help you choose colors that complement you the most. And what Robin was saying when we were here talking to her, Robin said, well, you know, I used to have really dark hair, and now I have mixed in gray, so my complexion may have changed. And so maybe I'm not what I used to, what did you used to think you were, a winter? A winter, so maybe she's not still a winter, but we can, in the workshop, we'll help you find colors that complement you.
And help you shop for yarn.
And help you shop for yarn for a project. So that's coming, I believe, in August. I don't know if we have the date. We might have the date. Okay, we'll find out what the date is soon enough. So have a great day, week of knitting. If you're on vacation, get those needles out and knit. Sit on a porch, sit on the beach. I love to knit on the beach, although I take my project in a plastic Ziploc bag, or you can do one of these, you can get these from Amazon, I believe, right? And then make sure your hands are clean and not full of sunscreen. That's not a good thing. And I like to sit under an umbrella because I've got kind of skin, I'm Irish. Not only I'm Scottish Irish. So
I mean, here's the
and Robin is the difference. You can see the difference between us. So I always wished I wasn't, but you know, too late now. Too late not to be Irish. It's the freckles, and you get more and more as you get older, unfortunately, and they get darker. And oh well.
The heat's making us very sad.
Yeah, we're a little bit ditzy today. So I hope you have a great week of knitting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.